Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Raman. I'm a performance scientist and a corporate learning leader for a US-based organization. Today, I intend to give you some research-based insights on how you could accelerate your team's performance at the speed of business. In a study, it was shown that having the best talent and best skilled team are not enough to get a competitive edge and differentiation in the market. Because every organization has access to pretty much the same pool of talent, almost the same markets, and every organization has pretty much similar funds and resources. Then what does really give you the competitive advantage? Well, it's the speed with which you develop the performance of your teams. Business is moving at such a speed that organizations need to find how to develop team proficiency at a faster rate. We are going to see in next few slides how to do so. What type of performance do you really expect from your team? Let's talk about it. Let's take an example of a firefighter. When your house is on fire, what kind of performance do you really expect from a firefighter? An ability to put out the fire quickly, right? They should not fail when it's your turn. You want his performance to put out the fire reliably and repeatably. If you are a salesperson, your manager would expect you to deliver the assigned sales quota not once, but consistently, month over month, without fail, and independently without needing supervision. That's the type of performance you expect from your teams, isn't it? That's called proficiency in a given job role, a state where your team and each employee produces business outcomes consistently, repeatably, and reliably. Depending upon what you want, you could be talking about learning, performance, or proficiency. If you start focusing on your team and employees' proficiency, other two will accelerate automatically. The time taken by a group of employees in a given role to reach the desired proficiency specified by that job is called time to proficiency. We want to shorten that time to proficiency by making our teams follow the red curve on this hypothetical proficiency time graph. I did a very detailed research with 70 world-class organizations who had clear evidence of being able to accelerate employee performance. The study spanned a very large size of context from 85 world leaders from 42 industries in 7 countries, covering 20 business sectors, 60 success stories, and 15 different types of jobs like sales, finance, technology, etc. The research revealed powerful insights for the first time how organizations actually shorten time to proficiency. I found there were 6 business practices which every organization invariably used. One was related to setting up the business matrix. One was about creating comprehensive skill maps, how the job is being done. One was related to setting up the full journey of a team member. One was related to designing powerful workplace training. And one was related to the exposures of the employees. As side note, what I found is training was a very small part of the overall equation. The most interesting was this 6th business practice, which is the scope of this talk today. I saw it universally across every single project I analyzed. The organization may have best competency maps, they may have best training in place, they may have best business KPI systems. All that would not lead to a shorter time to proficiency, unless there was one must-have condition that superseded everything. What is it? Well, it is what I call proficiency ecosystem. This is the surrounding within which the proficiency is enabled, nurtured, developed, and accelerated. Designing a highly supportive ecosystem that surrounds the job is a must-have condition to shorten time to proficiency. I will show you some few strategies on how to build a supportive and enabling proficiency system. What does constitute an ecosystem? Well, it has 6 elements that surrounds the performer. The most important, of course, is the job environment within which the job operates. The second one and the most crucial one is the manager the employees reports to. Then comes the peers or the team members with whom employees would be interacting on daily basis. Then we have coaches, mentors, or even trainers, those who are responsible to help employees. Another element was the performance support systems, resources, tools, systems, or other mechanisms available to the employees at the job. And lastly were the SMEs or other experts available in the organization. Let's take each element one by one. First, your team members are going to work with the other team members and peers to produce results as a group, isn't it? Among those usual interactions, they learn socially and informally. They do so by doing work with each other, talking to each other, sharing with others, and supporting each other. These interactions act as powerful multiplier of skill or proficiency. But more often, these social interactions at the workplace are left to happen of its own. What I found is that if you could make it purpose driven, you can accelerate proficiency by many folds. How to do so? One large IT company practiced a Friday afternoon pizza hour for several weeks. It would allow new performers in the company to access the high performers who may have solved a similar problem and could quickly guide these new members. They connect and learn from the master performer rather than waiting for formal training classes or relying on unmanaged informal learning. This is purpose-driven social connectivity. You need to set up such learning networks for specific purposes, maybe based on projects or functions. You embed purpose-driven discussion, conversations, interactions among the performers in these networks. The social connectivity is not open-ended or ad hoc or unmanaged. You can use mechanisms like peer learning, peer support, peer sharing, and peer teaching. In such modes, everyone is responsible for their own learning while they are given a purpose to accomplish. Such simple action provide a context for people to reflect, reinforce, and extend each other's knowledge purposefully. We know that people learn most of their job informally. So how do you take advantage of informal learning? For that, you need to put a certain level of structure around the informal learning by establishing expectations and clarifying intended outcomes and setting up a sequence beforehand to make sure it is goal directed. For instance, you can give a series of explorations to your new hire, which he must get the answers, no matter how and where he gets it from. That's how you can make informal learning more streamlined. These purpose-driven social interactions and structured informal learning appear to act as a multiplier of acceleration, not just for one person, but for the entire team. We all know the value of coaching and mentoring at the workplace. Experiencing the job under someone qualified allows much faster proficiency as opposed to learning the same task in the classroom. But where does it go wrong? When you tell your new employee, go sit with Joe, and if Joe is not available, then see Jim, and then pretty much you leave it to Joe and Jim to take care of the learning path of the employees. Such unstructured coaching or mentoring simply pulls the speed down instead of accelerating it. What I saw in my research that mentoring or coaching was targeted, focused, and based on proficiency goals. In several project cases, organizations put their performers in a high support and monitoring period immediately after training event. Training and on-the-job experience ran in parallel. Performers were made to apply new skills in the actual job, like taking phone calls and answering the customer emails. They could pair up with others and do it together, and trainers were available to help them. Another thing that stood out is that performers needed to be paired to the right mentors. The mentors should be selected carefully and given tools, techniques, and skills to mentor the new people. They should know how the mentoring process works. Also, I would recommend don't rely on one coach or mentor because your team would need different kinds of skills for which you need specialist mentors or coaches. So build a network of coaches and mentors and make it available to your team. One of the most underutilized element of ecosystem is experts or SMEs, the top-notch specialists available beyond your team across the entire organization. Most organizations tend to use them only as coaches, mentors, or trainers, and that's pretty much it. But you could use them beyond training. These are the experts who may have hold the in-depth answers in the form of time-tested know-how, skills, and experience that your team would not need to reinvent. They may have already distilled the wisdom that can replace time in the training. For instance, one organization in my research, they involved such SMEs to develop proficiency metrics, which allowed organization to redefine the scope of the job roles, putting a clearer and shorter path to proficiency, which did not involve attending even a single training course. Imagine what such kind of process can do for you. You could actually leverage the pool of SMEs strategically in many different ways, and you can tap on multiple mind powers beyond the team available to you. For instance, you can use them to develop focused videos targeting new skills or wisdom on specific issues or master classes on future problems. Again, all this needs to be directed by proficiency goals and the purpose of speeding up the proficiency of your team. The concept of performance support system is very important in the sense that when we make information, knowledge, and learning available to employees just in time, at the point of need, or at the teachable moment during the job, they can apply it in context of the job. This tremendously accelerates speed to proficiency. Performance support system examples may be job aids, checklists, task sheets, decision support system, flowcharts, procedures, or a model, algorithm. Now, we are also seeing artificial intelligence based search engines that allows you to quickly and precisely find what you want, and can be even the augmented reality based guidance system to repair a complex machine. In one large financial services call center in the US, the company simply eliminated 11 weeks of training by providing powerful on screen help, which provided them contextual help based on where they are in the process flow. If I have such step by step instructions in front of me, I probably don't need a training. Such properly designed job aids are seen to eliminate the need for training altogether. For example, you could take information content and make it available to employees as self-guided online searchable content. Just in time knowledge access at the point of need makes a huge difference in keeping people focused on learning in chunks just relevant to what they need, just the right amount when they really need. It saves a lot of time. Next one is environment, which is not actually one thing. It's many things. Several components for environment we already talked about in previous four elements of the ecosystem. First, you need to address any sort of resource, process, or other restrictions on how an employee produces outcomes. For example, a financial analyst's job may be severely impacted if you don't give him a good quality laptop with enough processing power. So be aware of such resource lag coming on the way to the performance of your team. The second set of things you need is to be realistic about what could be hampering speed to proficiency. It could be a mindset, belief, work practice, thinking, or even culture. For instance, at a large software company in Thailand, time to proficiency of newly hired offshore engineers was terribly long, longer than what the company expected. They constantly lagged in producing desired business outcomes. What they found is that their European counterparts did not share the entire information because they feared they would lose their jobs. As a manager or a leader, you need to be aware of such mindsets which could be hampering the speed. It may not be the lack of skills or training in all the cases. That's where you need to provide great quality of management service to the employees. As simple as asking, do we have the right information to the people? Do they have the proper equipment like right software or right hardware? You need to design or ensure an environment which enables, supports, and realistically produces speed. I met this one great thought leader when I was reviewing the results of my research. He profoundly pointed out, Raman, if you look at this ecosystem from the another angle, how the work is actually being done at the workplace, you will see managers at the center. Managers or leaders are the one responsible for creating the environment for employees to learn, perform, and develop. They are the ones who set up the proficiency goals and then track them. They set up the team dynamics, coaching protocols, projects, and assignments, and they decide the access to training resources or experts. Managers have such a powerful central role in an employee's performance and proficiency ecosystem. An enabling and supportive ecosystem won't appear up in the air unless a manager builds one. If all the factors are equal between two teams, their respective managers have make or break role on the way the people perform. They could be the biggest enablers or biggest disablers. Just keep that in mind. The organizations who indeed made a difference in time to performance of its teams, they saw different behaviors among their managers. What were those? There are three important roles any manager needs to perform in regards to accelerating the performance of the team. First, involve deeply with your employees before, during, and after the training. Focus on the entire learning journey. Your goals as a manager are not accomplished until your team starts producing consistent performance. And that's not going to happen simply by sending them to a training program. And be aware that trainers are no magicians unless you get involved in the training. I came across examples where managers actually sat with training designers telling what they really wanted from the training. Some organizations even made it mandatory for managers to sit for first half day of the training program alongside the employees. Imagine what it means to the discussion you would have with your team after the training. Then during the training, managers talk to employees daily. How's going after training? What you do impacts heavily how fast or slow you can achieve the performance of your team. In this period, you need to provide a range of reinforcements. You need to make sure you are fully accountable for the development of the team members until they become fully proficient. For instance, how many times this metrics of time to proficiency is even part of the quarterly or annual performance goals you set for them. That's the level of accountability you need to take. Sit together to design a progression path, identify the right projects for the employees, set the tracking mechanism, how you will track the progression against the set performance goals. When you as a manager express your support, coaching, and reinforcement to employees before, during, and after the training, That's tremendous. Be accountable to their development and provide them with an enabling, supportive, and realistic environment. Then you get an acceleration of time to proficiency. To wrap up, I presented you 6 components of ecosystem that you would need to design as a leader to support acceleration of proficiency in your teams. Create an enabling and supporting environment. Get your managers involved, accountable, and support employees before, during, and after training. Design opportunities for purpose driven social connectivity and structured informal learning. Institute a structured mentoring and coaching process within and across your teams. Leverage your subject matter experts strategically. And finally, deploy on demand performance support systems embedded in the workflow and learning. I hope I have added value to you today. If you are interested to know more about speeding up learning and expertise, I invite you to join ExpertX community of like-minded professionals and experts. Its goal is to enable you to excel and accelerate professional expertise. You can join it on the links I'm displaying here. I also welcome you to explore my niche books on this business challenge. I'm sure several of them would help you further. And feel free to contact me on some of these social channels I'm displaying here. It has been my pleasure to make a difference in your learning. Thank you so much.